Hey everyone, this is the Towering Traveler. Today I want to talk about the top things to do and see in London. And remember, if you like what you're seeing, please hit like. And if you'd like to see other adventures that I've gone on, please hit the subscribe button. So my number one recommendation when going to London is to do a black taxi tour. We loved our tour. It is the reason we saw as much as we did. And I'm actually going to include the link below for the one that we did because our tour guide, Oliver, is just the best and I can't recommend him enough. So the next few slides are actually going to be all things that we were able to see just because we went on this black taxi tour. Of course, we saw the iconic Buckingham Palace. We also saw Westminster Abbey. Just a side note too, Oliver is an amazing photographer and will go out of the way to make sure you have amazing pictures this whole time. Then there was Shakespeare's Globe and the Millennium Bridge. We saw the Tower Bridge and the Girl with the Dolphin fountain. The fountain wasn't on because it was springtime, early springtime, so it was still a little too cold. The London Wall was surprisingly one of my favorite things that we saw on tour. Up until this point, this was the oldest thing I had ever seen, and it just blew my mind. We did drive by the London Eye, and we were also fortunate to see a real Banksy in the wild, so that's why it's so blurry, because we had just driven by, and it was just a surprise that we were able to even see it. We also saw Little Venice, and the biggest treat out of the whole tour was probably seeing Abbey Road Studios. And not only did we see the studio from outside, again, Oliver pulling through with the amazing photography skills and getting us a photo that we will cherish forever. We ended our tour in the picturesque Notting Hill, but before the tour ended, we were gifted this amazing passport stamp that, again, I will always cherish and have. So I highly, highly, highly recommend the Ollie cab for your black taxi tour. We learned so much more that I didn't even include on this, but definitely something to check out if you ever get to go to London. Another London essential is to go for afternoon tea. When we went, we did the art afternoon tea at the Rosewood. As you can see, everything is very beautiful. And for as good as the food looks, it tasted just as amazing. Just look at these pastries. Like, it was hard to eat them, but even cracking into them, they were even more beautiful on the inside and they tasted so good. Another restaurant that I really highly recommend is getting dinner at St. John. Just know that St. John, it's definitely more of an eclectic taste, but definitely some of the best food that I've ever had in my life. Now, the main reason we went to St. John was because it was one of Anthony Bourdain's favorite restaurants in London. And as you can see on the menu, like I said, it's very different. So you can see, there's sardines, there's bone marrow, there's just, you can read them. So it's definitely interesting, but amazing. And as you can see, since there were so many different things, we tried almost all of them, and they were all incredible. And we ate even more food, and of course we got dessert, and it was like a whole night. We had a great time. Now, in terms of where to stay when you're in London, I have two top suggestions. The first place we stayed was in an Airbnb, and the second was in a B&B above a pub. The first place we stayed when we got to London was in an Airbnb. Highly recommend it. Really nice to feel like you live in a London flat, and it just gives you that authentic neighborhood feel. However, on the flip side, staying in this B&B above a pub was probably the most quintessential London thing we could have done, and I highly recommend it as well. I mean, who doesn't want to sleep above a pub? So those are my top recommendations for going to London. There's a million other things that we did that I had such a great time doing too. I would love if you could comment your favorite things in London, and just like I said in the beginning, please like and subscribe for more.